This is the second in a short series of 4 videos aimed at helping people who are running volunteer groups and community groups, particularly during this current pandemic crisis. In this second video, we'll be looking at the safe recruitment of volunteers. We'll be thinking about what might be ulterior motives for people wanting to join your group and how they might take advantage of the circumstances in which you're working. We're also going to be thinking about how you define roles within the group and how you actually ensure that people don't overstep the boundaries that you decide to set. If you want to know more about the videos or about TDI, the charity that has put these together, then you can go onto our website where you can find out more about our work. You can download all 4 of the videos and the training resources associated with them. We hope you find this video useful.
We suggested in the first training session that the nature of the coronavirus restrictions might reduce risk because volunteers should not be entering clients' homes or otherwise come within 2 meters of them at any time. And the restrictions in travel would suggest that people ought to volunteer close to their homes, thus they are more likely than usual to be known already to others in the group. Let's develop that idea on the next slide. Should a volunteer approach your group from outside the locality, you might want to find out more about them than if they were from the area. There may be a perfectly good reason. That's not to say that everyone in an area only ever volunteers for the best possible motives, but rather those who are dishonest are less likely to offend close to home, as it's more risky for them. Similarly, the existence of social distancing restrictions does not mean that everyone will follow them, but they're more likely to be noticed if, for example, they were to enter a client's home. In this section, we'll look at some of the practical issues community groups need to consider to reduce risk. These include defining volunteers' tasks very clearly, recruiting carefully, even though the usual standards of training and vetting may not be possible under current circumstances, given the urgency of the help that is needed, and adopting the safest possible policies and practices for working alone. What do we mean by defining tasks clearly? You and those you work with need a clear understanding of what it is you will provide. A shopping trip, a conversation of a defined length, a regular interaction at a specified time. You should never go beyond what you've been asked to do without clear permission from your group's organisers. You should never blur the lines by taking on any additional type of relationship with a client beyond your defined volunteer role. Many groups will not have the resources or time to do full checks on individuals volunteering at the current time, for instance criminal records, also known as DBS checks. You should still provide disclosure of any relevant offences and let the group organisers know of any other factors which might affect the work you can do. Your group's organisers may ask you for references. This is normal practice, even for volunteering roles. As a minimum, you'll probably be asked for proof of your identity. Remember that whatever the recruitment process, it's always about protecting the public and the volunteer group itself. Many organisations produce very detailed policies and procedures on lone working, as it's known. For voluntary community groups during the coronavirus emergency, this may not be realistic nor necessary, but you can think through the issues, preferably as a group, and possible ways to reduce any risks. In settings where people work alone, regular support and supervision needs to be offered outside of your work tasks. Here are some good practice tips for lone working. Firstly, assessing risks and planning tasks in advance. It's a useful discipline to think through the possible risks of any activity in advance and plan how to reduce them. It's likely that your clients may all be vulnerable people who are no risk to anyone, but that's not what this is about. Think about the areas that you'll be visiting, the possible risks that might exist there, and how they can be minimized. This might be as simple as deciding to avoid certain times of day, how you travel, or where you leave your car. Defining points of contact. Anyone working alone ought to have a system to check in with someone before beginning their work and check out again once they're safely finished. Your group organisers should confirm these arrangements to you before you start work. Equipment which may help. This may be as simple as always carrying a mobile phone and some cash for public transport in case your car breaks down. You might consider personal alarms too. Again, your group organisers should have a policy on these issues. Remember that you're not alone. As well as having a check-in and check-out system, as on the previous slide, you ought also to have clear procedures for use in an emergency, including contact details for people who can help. In settings where volunteers work on their own, there's an even greater need than usual for organisers to offer regular support and supervision. These are the take-home points from this second session. Make a habit of thinking about your safety regularly and systematically, and preferably with other people as a group. Make sure you're clear about the tasks you're asked to complete and don't go beyond them. Your group organisers shouldn't let you work unsupervised over long periods. They should provide guidance on how lone working can be done safely. If you're not getting enough guidance and support, say so.
This was the second of 4 short videos aimed at helping people setting up volunteering groups, particularly in the current crisis. The third will look at grooming and manipulation and how we can avoid it. Our website has the full set of all 4 videos and the associated training resources. If you found this video useful, you might be interested in some of our other training around sexual harm prevention. You can, of course, always make a donation if you so wish.